Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Jay Wise and Nathan Drinkard. I'm your host, Cody Ward. Thanks for spending some of your time with us tonight. What's going on, guys?
Let's talk some sports, baby.
This is
A drink of wisdom.
Staying in the NBA this afternoon, a superstar returned to action last night. The Warriors finally got back Steph Curry a few games later than expected, as he's recovering from a hand injury that's kept him out all season. 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists weren't quite enough as the Toronto Raptors pulled away and won 121 to 113. All Raptors starters scored in double digits and were led by Norman Powell, who put up 37 points on 13 of 20 shooting. The Raptors clinched a playoff berth, the second team to do so, while the Warriors remain ahead in the tanking race. All right, Jay, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, rate Steph Curry's performance last night.
Steph Curry, first of all, it's absolutely great that Steph Curry is back and playing and healthy. He's still must-see TV. He's one of the best players in basketball. We put him up there at top 5, I think, still. So it's great to have him back. And I look forward to seeing the Warriors completely healthy next season. I think that's good for the league with the brand of basketball they play. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Steph gets a 6 for last night. He gets a 6. 5 would be right in the middle, perfectly average. And there's some aspects of his game last night that were, they were lacking. But we got to take into account that he's missed about 58 games, and the left hand. That's something we got to look to. Your shot. We got questions about that. I think it's understandable that your shooting would be a little substandard in your first game back, and it was. He was clearly not himself with a shooting perspective. But one of the things I was looking at, because one of the reports that came out, when you talk about the left hand, we was talking about nerve damage and talking about when he dribbled the basketball, like he was still he would lose touch with the ball because of his hand. So that was one of the key things I was looking for last night. I didn't see any ill effects of that. I thought his handle looked fine. He only turned the ball over one time, so I believe it was one time. His decision making was sharp. His passing was excellent. I thought he did a great job of coming into the game and setting a tone of trying to get other guys involved. We look to superstar players at that from time to time. Get some other guys involved early, and then let the game come to you and get yours as the game progresses after you've established a rhythm for some of those guys. We also got to consider the guys that he's playing with. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green's missing time with a knee. Looney was not there last night, but you did have Andrew Wiggins. I like the way those guys play together. The effect of Steph Curry, the overall effect, and that includes the crowd. I talked about it when we were anticipating his return. That was a big deal to me and that was one of the reasons I thought he should return if he's fully healthy. Give these fans who have been so great the past several years and supported you in such a great way at the Oracle, give these fans something in this new arena, because Lord knows it's been a difficult season out there. So that was a big thing. The crowd was definitely into it. They were hyped. He got some MVP chance when he went to the free throw line. I really liked he took a lot of threes last night, but there were also moments when he was driving the lane. He was aggressive. He took some falls, and he bounced up every time. So that was a positive thing to see. And just the overall impact and, the overall energy of the building, the energy of his teammates. There was a little bit, they had a little bit more juice when he was on the floor. The ball movement was better. The cutting action, the screening, just everything was better. But I can't rate him too high, because you got 3 for 12 from 3. That's just not acceptable for Steph Curry, as we know. But I'm not concerned. I'm encouraged by what I saw last night. Again, I think it's great for the league that he's back. And in the big picture, we look at the Warriors next year, and it's my expectation that we'll see Steph, Wiggins, Draymond, and Klay, and then we'll just throw Looney at the 5 for right now, for the sake of argument. There's some guys on this team that I saw last night. They're worthy of some, being some rotation guys next year coming off the bench. Eric Pascal, Right, this is a guy who can come off the bench and just get buckets. And he, 16 points last night. Got a great mid-range and can post up a little bit. Marquise Chris, I like what he brought to the game last night. 17 and 12 for him. Damian Lee had a great game until the very end. Had some missed a couple free throws and had some good 3-point looks late that kind of let the game get away. But I mean, those are three guys, and I would go so far as to throw Jordan Poole in there as well. As bad as they've looked all season, we got to consider these are NBA players. They're just playing above their weight class, so to speak. They're out of their roles. These are guys that should be. They've just been pressed into roles that don't make sense for them. They're all out there starting. It don't make a lot of sense. The team's been decimated by injuries, but they got some guys on that roster that we saw last night. They can play in this league, and it's going to be interesting to see how Golden State utilizes and fills out that roster next year around those stars that'll be back next year with Steph Curry.
Yeah, can't disagree with Jay on this. 5'6" range, the performance, and listen, you guys know how I grade when a player coming for his first game in a while. You ain't getting much from it unless you come out here and drop like a 50 burger in your first game. Like, so when you come back and listen, Steph wasn't terrible, but like you said, 3 for 12. Hey man, you known for dropping them buckets from the parking lot. So if you don't drop them from the parking lot, I'm a little unimpressed. He did go 8 for 8 from the free throw line. You gave 7 and 7. All right, cool. I did think, however, like you talked about the others that's playing above their weight class, I thought he gave them a little more pride about themselves. Take Andrew Wiggins out because he's been considered at one point, a higher level player, but Lee, Chris, and Pascal, I thought they played like this is the first time in a while that they got to play with a superstar. Because Draymond Green, give me whatever sauce you're gonna give me, but yeah, okay. So this is the first time that these guys have been able to play with a superstar. And if you want to throw Andrew Wiggins in there and say Karl Towns is not really a superstar or Jimmy Butler, okay. But like you said, Steph Curry is a top 5 player in today's NBA. So he's a superstar. Therefore, these young Thundercats get on the court, get to, play with one of the top guys in the game and see how it feels for a change. Once again, you mentioned the crowd. This probably the loudest that crowd got in quite a while, right? And now they get to know what it feels like to play a quality opponent with the crowd roaring and having a good time. I thought it was a good learning experience for those guys. Now, I just want to say one thing. You brought up Marquise Chris. I think he will be the starting center over Looney next year. He gives them a little more flexibility at that 5 than Looney does. I like what Looney, what he can do, but he kind of slow. He could be stuck in the mud at times. And I like what I seen out of Marquise Chris. He can move those feet. And, let's be real here. As good as Golden State was on offense, we had to respect them on the defense side of the ball. And you need your 5 to be able to move his feet. So I think he will elevate to a starting role as well. And I don't want to undermine the team that they played. Listen, this is Toronto Raptors, a veteran-laden team led by Pascal Siakam. But look, evidently, Powell came to play last night. He dropped 37. And when you getting productivity out of what? Arguably your 3rd best player, 4th best player, depending on the night that you're watching Toronto, when you're getting that out of them, listen, they're very hard to beat, especially when you only got one superstar worth talking about on your team, like that's playing. So this team, they're not Chum Bucket, but they're not, Krabby Patties either. So you take it for what it's worth. They will be a top echelon Eastern Conference team. They won't win it, but they'll be in the mix somewhere. Bar Soap out there, he dropped 26. I mean Kyle Lowry, my bad. He dropped 26. He had his 10 assists, and he showed up. But look, Pascal Siakam, you the number 1 guy now. Hey, like a number 1 guy. We forgot how to shoot threes, huh? Oh, okay, all right, yeah. I see you, Pascal. I got that money, baby. What you gonna do to me? All right, I see you out there, Pascal. being the number one a little harder than you thought, huh? You seen Kawhi Leonard going through it last year. You're like, I can do that. I can be the number one guy. Yeah, it's a little harder. Keep on. When you start pissing off them Toronto fans, there ain't no going back. They're the nicest fans in the world, evidently. So they tell you, piss them off. We ain't no going back, buddy. So listen, at the end of the day, Curry had a good performance. Gave him the 6. Good experience for his teammates. They just lost to the better team. It is what it is. Holla at your boy.
Yeah, let me jump back in and piggyback off some of the points you made. Defensively, that's one of the areas the Warriors probably need help the most, because you get Clay back next year. That's going to absolutely help your offense. Wiggins helps your offense. And some of those bench guys like Lee and Pascal, they can score the basketball. What they're going to need, because you think about it, you lose Kevin Durant, and don't forget about Iguodala and Livingston. Those guys were quality defenders that with great versatility that made things different. The Warriors at times when they locked in, they were just as scary defensively as offensively. They could just do that. So that's going to be one of the keys for them moving forward, because I like some of the offense that they can come at you with off the bench. It's going to be imperative that they get some guys that can replace some of that defensive versatility that they've lost this past season. That's going to be a key for them moving forward. And as far as the Raptors go, because I don't want to shortchange them at all, good Lord, Norman Powell was spectacular last night. They did not have an answer for him. He had 23 in the first half. He was making threes. He was getting to the lane. And he was only starting out of necessity because they were missing Fred VanVleet. So, I don't know where you throw him in at the pecking order, but he is averaging 16 points for you. And primarily, I think of him as a guy that comes off their bench. But, I've had great admiration and respect for him for a long time. I was of the mindset last season when VanVleet was having all types of struggles. I was like, why ain't Powell playing? Because I know he can come in there and give you some scoring points. So it's great to see him. That was a career high for him last night. And obviously the Raptors, after the Bucks, it's anybody's guess right now who the next best team is in the East. I think we like the Celtics at this point. But, the Raptors are definitely still in that mix.
Yeah, this as far as the outcome of the game goes, I'm not very surprised. We know the Raptors are a much better team as a whole. For the question's sake, I'd give Curry I'll give you a 6.5 just to be different. But yeah, that's a nice line. First game back, 23.77. That's nice. It's nice to be
Thanks
back.
for the 0.5, man.
Yeah, but it got to be a little different.
Yeah, hey, and also we got to take into account the minutes restriction. He was only going to play 24 to 28, and when he left the game with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Warriors, it was a tie game. And that's when he left the game, the Warriors, they broke down. They turned the ball like 4 or 5 times. And that's where they really lost the game. But if Curry had played like a full load of minutes, that could have been – it don't matter because obviously they out the playoffs. They have been for I don't know how long it's been. But, even last night against a quality Eastern Conference team, they're going to be back.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it for them next year. Like y'all said, the injuries are going to heal up and you're going to get a lot of this team back. And it's great to see Curry back right now. I think overall the game just isn't as good. It's so weird. Like, this is a team that's been just an absolute fixture every season. And then all of a sudden it's like they just like literally fell off the face of the earth, and it's wild to see, but it's definitely good that he's back and getting back in the mix. And the fans get a little something. I'm not too sympathetic for them. They got like 9 championships in the last 4 years, but whatever. But when you look at this game, I think there's 2 guys in this game that y'all both hit on that I was going to go a little further with. The first one is Norman Powell for the Raptors. Last time we checked in on the Raptors, he didn't. I think he was injured. And then if we remember back to the finals, you're say he's a guy that didn't play a whole lot. He was basically a rotational guy on a championship team. Guy come in, give you a spark, do a little bit here and there. Maybe in the middle of the season, he gets your team over a couple games, but like no one ever really thinks of him as like a real guy that's really coming into it. But he's really picked it up this year. This is from the Raptors SB Nation site. Some of these numbers. He's averaged, after his first injury, the shoulder injury he had, because he's had 2 bouts of injuries this year, he averaged 20.1 points on 52, 40, 86 on his slash lines. And then since he's come back from his hand injury, he's averaging 27 points on 54, 36, 85. So 3-point efficiency is a little down, but that's like, wow. He's shooting 68% at the rim. He's finishing a lot better at that. area of his game where before he was trying to go for like a lot more fancy stuff, and he's kind of trying to clean that up, and he's still shooting well. And, in the absence of Kawhi, he's the guy that's really stepped up for the Raptors, and as many guys have on the squad. And is he going to score 37 every night? No. But it's interesting that Nurse and the Raptors have really allowed guys like him to kind of flourish and elevate their game multiple times. Like we saw Siakam, he took that big step, and we thought, okay, well, that's probably where he's going to stay. But then he's kind of taking that next step this year for the most part, if you look at the whole season of work, not just last night, and you think, okay, well, they're doing that with more than just one player. So that's pretty amazing. And like y'all mentioned too with Eric Pascal, like he didn't have the game Powell did, but he's probably been overlooked on this Warriors squad. Another guy that you just don't ever think of. But another second rounder, rookie from Villanova, he's having a nice campaign. 13.8 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 2 assists. He's averaged 20.6 in his last 5. Now the efficiency is not there yet, and there's definitely about 100 things he could improve on, right? But it's going to be fun to see when the Warriors get back. One thing I'm looking at is with Draymond Green, and his price and the production's continuing to slide a little bit. And this is a year you thought, well, maybe Draymond will kind of get some of his scoring, groove back with other guys hurt, and he really didn't. Now he's hurt too, and in and out. If the Warriors are making some free agency moves and there is salary cap to be cut, could Pascal ultimately replace Green if they decide, when these guys get back? I mean, is this a guy you think he's about Draymond's size? He's a little bit heavier. If he can develop a more well-rounded game and be like the next Draymond, could it be somewhere the Warriors go? I mean, that's another discussion for the other day, but it's going to be fun to see. So some of these guys on the Warriors, like y'all said, they're not just some bums that they're just keeping around until the season's over and they're all getting booted. I mean, these guys, they're going to have to play next year. And it's interesting to see that Kerr is taking the season to really develop some of these guys are just going, it's a wash, whatever, who cares? So good on him. And we always question his coaching ability, but despite the record, I think he's definitely earning his chops and earning his paycheck this year.